Good to have you here with us on Down the Road. It's Black Friday, right? Everybody's out there shopping. Everybody's out there except for me. I'm not a big shopper. I can tell you that. I'm one of those guys that calls his sister-in-law and says, hey, get something for my wife. And then looks at my wife and say, hey, can you get something for my staff? I'm a terrible shopper. And I'm one of those guys that goes in the store and doesn't ask about the price or the other product. I'm what we call a buyer, not a shopper around her. So Kate Herzog joins us right now. Kate is the COO with the Bismarck Downtowners. Kate, good to have you on Down the Road.
Well, thanks for having me on, Joel. Like I said, I'm loving the beard. It's looking good.
Yeah, it's going to get mowed off pretty soon if other people have their way. You know, between ice fishing and a winter, I mean, I shouldn't have to shave it off until what? About May, fair?
It's practical. Sometimes July even in North Dakota.
So just so you know, Kate, my eldest granddaughter looked at me and she said, Grandpa, that makes you look old. I said, really? She goes, yeah, it makes you look old, but then you are old, right? And I'm like, thank you.
Wow, brutally honest, but that's good, I guess.
Tell us what the Bismarck Downtowners are.
Yeah, we're kind of like a chamber of commerce for the downtown businesses. We have about 200 members that represent almost 9,000 employees. And in the second biggest employment district in the state, which is downtown Bismarck, which has about 12 to 15,000 employees that come down every day.
Obviously, Black Friday, the big push, but it's a different year. I mean, COVID is a different year. How is this going for retail? How's it going for downtown Bismarck?
I think retail is doing, okay. They're able to, sell things online and use shipping methods. Restaurant is difficult, I think, for us right now, and that's restaurant hospitality in particular have been sort of outsizedly affected by the pandemic, especially because those are experiential types of businesses, right? You come in, it's a social business, and so that's really been difficult in the pandemic. And we've done a few things to hopefully help get some of those restaurants through the holiday season and through what is usually kind of a slow quarter one. And so they really need the holiday to pad themselves to get through the beginning of next year.
I don't doubt it. And that's the sad part. When it comes to commerce, when it comes to Chamber of Commerce's, are you getting help? I mean, to me, when the government sends out help, the businesses that you represent and you want to see succeed, I want them there when all this is over. I mean, I want all of them there. So are they getting the help that they deserve and need?
I think we all were kind of waiting for a second federal aid package to sort of come through, and with the absence of that has made it a little bit more difficult. I would say the state and then our local officials are doing a great job trying to help out the businesses that are most affected. We just recently, this past Tuesday, our city commission approved another temporary off-sale allowance for our restaurants to also sell beer, wine, and mixed drinks with a food purchase. And that's how they make, a good portion of their money. They've helped us out when we've set up some curbside pickup zones for our retailers. So I think, on a local level, our local officials are doing what they can with what they have, but we are still waiting for sort of that second sort of federal aid package maybe. And anytime that could come sooner rather than later would be much better for our businesses.
I don't doubt it. They need to get their act together. They need to get in a room and do the kumbaya or do whatever and quit fighting, because it doesn't matter if these businesses are Republican or Democrat. They all need the help. Now, Saturday, Small Business Saturday. Not a lot of people think about that. Describe it to people.
Yeah, Small Business Saturday was started actually by American Express, I want to say in 2010, and we at the Bismarck Downtowners have been a neighborhood champion of that event. And it's really just to get people to think about small local businesses as part of your holiday shopping. Those big box stores are doing okay in the pandemic. In fact, they're doing a lot better. And so we are really encouraging people, as we do every year, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, to take some of your holiday money and spend it locally. So we've developed an app so you can find everybody that's participating in our downtown that's a small local restaurant or a small retailer, service provider. They do a happy dance when they make a sale. And not that they don't at Target maybe, but this means a lot more to small businesses, and it's a really big retail day of the year for us. And so anything we can do to get people to shop local and pad these holiday sales will help these restaurants and retail and service providers make it through quarter one. So really encouraging people to take part of your holiday shopping budget. Are you spending it locally? Because that's going to make a huge difference, even in sales tax collections, and the services that you get as a community member sometimes come from, sales tax, bed and booze tax. So it has a really big effect if you can shop local, not just during the holidays, but obviously all year round.
I was recently in downtown Fargo, and I know that the chambers talk to each other, and you learn from each other, and I'm very familiar with what's going on in Williston because I'm there a lot with my radio show and have gotten to know Sean and that group. Actually, yeah. Sean's been on this show, but I was in downtown Fargo, and I was doing some media there with CBS, and they did it in front of Zambros. And I know you know where that is. And yep. When you go into those small businesses, I leave with a bag. I mean, I leave with something. This was something for my, 6 grandkids. But I leave with a bag because, number one, it isn't just because I want to support them, but it's I want them. They've got something I want when I go in there and give them a chance. And, Kate, I'm not sure people do that enough.
Yeah, I don't think, maybe we look more for convenience, but really a lot of the downtown shopping is like I said, experiential. You get to know the business owners, you get to, know their flavor a little bit. They give you great customer service. So it's something that people really look forward to when they have a downtown shopping experience versus maybe, standing in a checkout line and kind of being a little, maybe less personal in some of the bigger box stores. So, and those local business owners really, contribute to the community. They're the first place you go when you're looking to have your team's jersey sponsored or hey, can you donate a gift card for the silent auction? And they have stepped up in those ways. So I'm hoping the community now steps up and says, hey, I remember you gave me a $50 gift card for a silent auction. I'm buying the biggest to-go martini I can. and thank you so much. And so they're pillars of the community. They're the flavor, and we need to keep them around while this pandemic sort of gets sorted out. That's
a really good point because I work in radio and now I work in TV, and we're not afraid to knock on the door and say, hey, we got this high school game. Would you mind chipping in? And so that we can make sure that game's either on radio or on TV. And those small businesses always come through. They really do. Kate, you're doing a good job. Okay, one last thing. Tell us exactly the great thing about downtown Bismarck. You've earned that right.
Well, unlike downtown Fargo, we've got a lot of hills here, and I like to give our downtown Fargo people, josh them a little bit on that. But downtown Bismarck is, especially now coming into the legislative season, a fun place to be. It's just absolutely energy when the session is in. So I think the best thing about downtown Bismarck sounds cliche. It's the people. It's absolutely the people.
I can tell you this, for 14 years in my life, you proved it. The 14 years that I served in the legislature, I absolutely love downtown Bismarck. Kate, good to have you on. I appreciate it. When we come back, we're going to get a chance.
Thanks, Joel. Take care.
You bet. We're going to get a chance to visit with Doug Goring. Doug's Ag Commissioner for the great state of North Dakota. And you know what? Pride of Dakota Products. He's going to make sure you know about that. And we'll do all that right here on Down the Road.
Howdy folks, it's the Caroline Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Bussin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at a salad bar, sink your teeth into our famous Caroline burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon rattling pie with a cum roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink from trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
Beck Communications is honored to be recently recognized with 3 Broadband Now awards. Beck Communications Cooperative was awarded in the categories of top internet speeds nationwide, top 3 fastest internet providers in North Dakota, and North Dakota's #1 fastest fiber provider. It's only through the support of our members and customers that Beck Fiber delivers award-winning speeds and service. Thank you, Beck Communications Cooperative members and customers, for your years of continued support.
Introducing Accord Comfort Sleep Systems, a better way to sleep. We offer you 5 different models to give you the perfect choice of support and body comfort. Every model begins with our exclusive Accord Comfort Reflex Layer. This ensures proper spinal alignment and a deep down body relief. Our 8-inch Whisper Breeze provides a medium firm feel, and our 10-inch Gentle Night model has a quilted top, giving you a medium plush comfort. Both use Outlast fabric on the top of your mattress, ensuring that your body temperature is not too hot and not too cold. Our Copper Rest Sleep Series is our premier mattress, offering your choice of firm, plush, and luxury plush. Every model uses copper-infused gel latex and provides all the health benefits of copper. Accord Comfort mattresses are handcrafted in the USA and come with a 60-night sleep guarantee. You're going to love sleeping with us. Order today exclusively at accordsleep.com or Tom's Home Furnishings in beautiful downtown Harvey.
Is your business phone system outdated and expensive to maintain? Most large VoIP companies leave you on hold or struggling through online support and training for your employees. With Beck Connect, you always have fast, friendly, local support. Familiar faces with the know-how to keep you connected. Take advantage of the newest technology in voice calling, video conferencing, and virtual meeting rooms. Beck Connect gives you all the features you need with no upfront investment and no obsolete hardware or software ever again. Simplify your communications. Choose local. Choose Beck Connect.
Good to be still going down the road with you. He's one of the big 3 in the executive branch of the state of North Dakota. I always look at one of the most powerful places, and that is in the room of the Industrial Commission. You've got the governor, you've got the attorney general, and you've got the ag commissioner, and that's Doug Goring. He's with us right now. Doug, good to have you going down the road with us.
Well, thank you, Joel. It's good to see you. It'd be nice to be in the room with you, but it's good to see you.
Yeah. We're going to get back to that. I mean, we are going to get back to that. So, one of the better harvests. I mean, my guys were done in time. There was everybody out deer hunting at the same time.
Yeah. You know, that this year, I can only remember there being in the last 35 years that I've been farming, there's only been 2 other times that we've had a year where we've been able to finish as early as we did. And this year was one of them. Grateful because, I mean, let's face it, after last year and finishing up harvest this spring, the combine really didn't have a rest. And within about 3.5 months after we put the combine away this spring, we started back up and got harvest done by October or in October.
You know, most of the guys that I talked to weren't saying record yields. And you know what that's like when you ask them about yields. It's like, how much money's in your bank account, Joel? But they weren't asking about, they weren't bragging about, record yields, but they said the crop was pretty good.
Yeah, in our area, it was kind of a different story. We were the epicenter of a drought this year. Thank God for the moisture, I guess we did have. Pretty disappointing. We had some crop insurance claims that were turned in quite a large area, including our farm. The bright spot or the silver lining was that, hey, we're not spending $2,800 a month in electricity to run air fans on those bins because it actually came off dry. But yields were disappointing. The nice thing is prices have recovered. They're looking a lot better than they were. Unfortunately, a lot of farmers will tell you before you start cheering for us, most of us had our crop locked in, this last fall early on. So, it's a bittersweet, but it sure paints a better picture for next year. There's a lot more hope out there. I think if we can get beyond all this COVID stuff and get back to a little more normalcy, people are really looking forward to marketing in a better year and hopefully with better crops too.
Everybody watching back home after what you just described is going to want to know where the home ranch is. Where's the farm at, Doug?
It's south of Minokan. We're in south central North Dakota, about 20 some miles right out of Bismarck.
Yep. And so I think that area, well, I know that area, you know, struggled just exactly the way you said it did. Want to talk to you a little bit about what the future of farming is before we get into Pride of Dakota. There was a time when you and I talked on the radio where we were afraid that the, you know, farmers were getting older. We were losing that next generation of farmers here in North Dakota. How is it sitting now? Have we fixed some of that?
I don't know if we fixed some of it. You know, some of the biggest challenges we see in agriculture, and I think a lot of the public gets a bit frustrated because they're trying to figure out, you know, who are you guys? What do you do? And how come you keep growing? Well, the reality is the more pressure that you put on family living, the more we have to extrapolate out of every acre. And since there's only a limited amount of product and produce we can produce, it continues to put pressure on the bottom line and on our farms. So we see them ever advancing a little bit larger all the time just to meet our family living. But we have seen some new farmers that came into this in when prices got high in 12, 13. And then we saw a lot of pressure getting put on a lot of those young farmers early on. I know a lot of families that got behind the younger generation, put a lot of assets on the line, and some of that's been lost. We've seen it ebb and flow. We still have some young people out there farming. We have some young people that want to farm. And I would say that overall, I believe that the age is about the same when they talk about the average age of a farmer being about 57, 58. But we're seeing some of the older generation get out of this, and the only way that you're going to see the newer generation come in is as that happens. We have seen another aspect to this, though. We've seen outside interest from a lot of our cities and other states come in and start buying some of that farmland. And that's fine if they turn around and let it, go back to someone in the community, younger people, help them get established. But in some cases, we're seeing some of this land just getting tied up, and people just want to come out, come from some other state, come out, sit on the porch, and look at all this beautiful land. But if it's not being used properly and appropriately, it actually becomes a dead asset, not only for them, but for wildlife, for the whole ecology, and for our communities.
I always wondered in some of those rural communities, because different than when you and I grew up, almost every family now is a dual income family. Whether it be because, hey, we can get health insurance in town and that can supplement us on the farm, but you got to have that job in town. And that town's got to be close enough that you can get to that job, because we have winters here in North Dakota. I always wonder if that hasn't played a role in us losing some of those rural young farmers. I mean, has your agency ever taken a look at that?
In a sense, what we've done is probably worked within some communities to try and understand what some of the future generation is looking for. And in many cases, as you see, people get married and maybe one of the spouses is like, I want a little bit more for our family or our children, and they may move away or take a job in a different state or a larger community because they want some of the perks, with the nightlife and all the other activities going on. But what's interesting is in the last 3 years, I can't believe how many families have come back to North Dakota saying, we love the culture. We love the communities that we grew up in. We want that for our kids. We don't see benefits and advantages to living in some of those states and some of those larger cities as we once thought. Maybe it was fine for when we were dating, got married, but as soon as we had kids, we wanted to come back to North Dakota. And they're willing to say, you know what, we may not be able to go down and see a Broadway show that night, but we can watch it on TV, or we can pull it up on the internet. but we love the life that we can provide our kids and ourselves in some of our communities. And that just warms your heart.
Saturday is Small Business Saturday. It's about commerce. The North Dakota Ag Department has a long tradition of Pride of Dakota, of showing off all those local products and people that are trying to make a living with us here. Describe to people that are watching us right now what Pride of Dakota is.
Yeah. Pride of Dakota was started, and although I wasn't around for when it started in 1985, but the concept has been supported by so many commissioners, so many legislators over the years, primarily because it was there to support and advance small businesses in North Dakota. We refer to them at times as members or vendors, simply because maybe they wanted to take this small little innovative product they created and move to a larger setting, move to a point where they're a larger company. But in some respects, a lot of these small companies just wanted to get established and do something in their community, or they wanted to produce something that they didn't want to do it full time, but they wanted to supplement their income, but they wanted to get this out into the marketplace. So we take our members and we put them together in what we call a showcase, which is just a venue for a great shopping experience. And it gives the public a chance to come in, experience and see, taste, touch, feel, all these different products that these companies produce. And we have artists, we have photographers, we have crafters, we have home decor, we have lawn decor, we have wine and spirits. We have numerous food items. I know you've been to it and you've seen the great products that are produced right here in North Dakota. A lot of them very unique. We have sports memorabilia. We have sports, I think about a product developed by a guy that actually helps to clean fish. I mean, how unique. It's wonderful.
Yeah. You know, I know I've only got 30, 40 seconds left, but how do you get the stamp that makes me always buy when I see Pride of Dakota?
So first of all, you come to us as a company, you're certified as a Pride of Dakota member. You then have the ability to slap that stamp on your product and it says Pride of Dakota. And with that, you get to market to the rest of the world and people see it as a trademark of quality, of innovation, of local, and of supporting that small business entrepreneur.
Well, I'm glad to see the tradition keeps going. Doug, way to go on that. And you know what? When I see that stamp, I bring my wallet out. I'll have to take out a second mortgage someday at one of these Pride of Dakotas. Thanks for going down the road with us.
You bet. Thank you, Joel. Take care. Have a great day. Happy Thanksgiving.
You bet. We had an absolutely great Thanksgiving. All right, when we come back, Rudy Martinson's going to join us. He's Executive Director of the North Dakota Hospitality Association. That's a pretty big title. We're going to talk about the state of hospitality in North Dakota during this COVID crisis.
I just went in for a regular mammogram and I found out that I had a little tumor.
Through the exam and the biopsy, it was determined that I had cancer.
I got a call from one of my doctors that I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
After 5 years, they found a local reoccurrence.
The first thing you hear when you're told you have a cancer, it's a little daunting because you don't know where to go with it.
Since 1999, in a partnership between CHI St. Alexius Health and Sanford Health Bismarck, the Bismarck Cancer Center has provided the most advanced radiation therapies and holistic support services for cancer patients and their loved ones for 20 years.
I've been at the Bismarck Cancer Center since it started. I actually was in the basement of Med Center 1 before, when we had old machines and old equipment. And thankfully, the two hospitals at the time, St. Alexius and Med Center 1, joined forces to create the Bismarck Cancer Center.
I walk in the door, I get nothing but hugs, and I was marveled at them. I mean, I thought it was the best place in the world.
The staff is unbelievably compassionate, and they explain everything to you.
Everybody's genuinely concerned about your well-being, and the level of care is just top notch. The Cancer Center just does such an amazing job of helping people.
To me and my family, the Cancer Center means life. It's given me the ability to live out my life with my family, my wife, my children, my grandchildren.
Because of them, I'm 2 years out, get to move on with my life, make a difference now for other people.
I would recommend this center because the minute you walk through that door, they've got your back.
This center means so much to me and to the people that are in this building, and we just want to keep giving it back to the community and providing for them what they need.
I'm Katie. I've been cancer-free for 2 years.
I'm Steve, and I've been cancer-free for 4 years.
I've been cancer-free for 10 years.
10 years.
11 years.
15 years.
My name is Lainey, and I've been cancer-free for 18 years.
Bismarck Cancer Center, your partner against cancer for 20 years.
Who do you trust with your digital life? Not all cloud backup providers keep your data truly private. Beck Cloud Backup uses advanced multi-layer encryption to keep your family photos, videos, and sensitive business documents secure and only for your eyes. Your Beck Lightband Internet service already includes 50 gigs of free storage to keep your digital life safe and secure. Call us at 701-475-2361 to start using your Beck Cloud Backup today.
Welcome back to Down the Road. This is a real treat for me. Listen to this title. Executive Director of the North Dakota Hospitality Association. Now, during a pandemic, during a COVID pandemic, that's not an easy job to have. But he's willing to give us some time. Rudy Martinson, good to have you going down the road with us.
Great to be here, Joel, and thanks for having us today.
How are you folks holding up?
It's been a challenging year. It's been an interesting year the North Dakota Hospitality Association represents the restaurant, the lodging, and the retail beverage sectors within North Dakota. And it's been a challenging year, definitely a unique one, and probably the most challenging one in the dozen or so years that I've been representing the industry.
I'm curious about this because so many people, small towns are listening to you right now that you're probably not able to get to all of, right? Is there anything that somebody has thought of that others maybe haven't tried yet? That it's, I know that they're encouraging people to do things online, and I know that they're encouraging people and setting up parameters where, hey, this is an incentive, that's an incentive. But is there, for lack of a better way of putting it, is there some trick out there that some of these small businesses can use?
Well, actually, it has been a really interesting year for that, Joel. And my hat is off to all of the operators in the industry that have had to come up with some innovative solutions just kind of on the fly. One that sticks out in my mind is when the initial executive order restricting us away from dine-in options came down. Certain folks who might operate a restaurant or might operate a small town bar, cafe, whatever, had to sort of improvise almost overnight on how to, folks that were not initially set up to do a lot of takeout or carry out or delivery or that kind of thing, kind of had to adjust their business model basically overnight to come up with that. And there's been a lot of that type of innovation going on within the industry, and it's been, though it's a challenge, it has been kind of a joy to watch folks come up and adapt.
So in my home area, I live in the Manador-Hankinson area. Manador's where I grew up and now live south of Hankinson. But in Hankinson, there's 3 restaurants there. And what they did was, they got together and they said, okay, Monday night's your night for takeout. The next one, Tuesday night's your night for takeout. And what all of us did was maybe we weren't going to go out to eat that week, but you know what, we did because we wanted to support them and make sure they were there when we were done. And so in some of their cases, they did okay. I mean, they I don't want to say they were making money, but they were at least able to hang on to some staff.
Sure. And that is part of the challenge of the whole situation. I think that's a major concern that a lot of the operators that I talk to worry about. Like, yes, we're not running at the full capacity that we could be or would be in a non-pandemic situation. In fact, some of the impact numbers of this are kind of staggering. I got some numbers from the North Dakota tourism department, and their estimate of the impact of lost visitation and visitor spending in North Dakota due to the pandemic in 2020 is $994 million so far. So it's a big number. I would also, on behalf of the industry, like to express gratitude to those folks like you just described that are still doing takeout whenever possible, are still buying gift cards, are still showing up to support the industry, because we're really going to need that if there's going to be an industry here when the pandemic finally subsides.
You know, you mentioned gift cards right now. I hadn't thought of that, and I should have thought of that, because it's the perfect way to get some money in the pockets of that industry, and you can use it later. I mean, that's smart.
And especially going into a holiday gift-giving season, it's the advantage of a gift card is that you're exactly right. It puts money in the pocket of your favorite business now, and then you don't necessarily need to use it if you're not comfortable going out to eat, even in a limited capacity environment, or if you would just prefer to have the place incur that cost that comes along with that later. It's cash in the pocket now, the cost is delayed, which every little bit helps in the industry.
I got a friend that owns a hotel, and, and so when you threw that number out at me, it got my attention. That's a big number, but it didn't surprise me either, because he's been hamstrung by this whole thing. Nobody's traveling around.
Well, and I have a particular level of empathy for the hotel portion of the industry for that very reason, because they were never subject directly to the executive order that limited hours of operation and dine-in and that kind of thing for restaurants and bars. But we kind of, as a larger society, have canceled or suspended all of the different things that drive the hotel business, whether that's business travel or conventions or sporting events or concerts, or the Canadian border's been closed for most of the year, which again, the tourism department estimates that there have been 400,000 fewer passenger trips down from Canada in 2020 than in 2019. So
all those license plates you saw in the malls,
right, exactly,
they're not coming.
Exactly. And that, like I said, we haven't directly told hotels you have to change your operations at all. We've just altered everything that drives their business. And so
right south of me is a casino, and see a ton of Canadian cars there. When I go out golfing there, it's like, man, the Canadians come down and support this, but that's not happening.
Right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So I don't want to end this conversation without you getting the stats out you brought. So run through it. Tell me what you brought here.
Well, basically, I've hit a couple of the bullet points already, the $994 million. That includes, by the way, $77 million in lost state and local tax revenue. So that's an aspect to it as well. I get asked the question all the time, well, how bad is it going to be by the time it's all over? How much danger
how many
are we
are still
really
going to be
in?
there?
Yeah, how many are going to close? Yep. Estimates on that vary. I'll tell you, nationwide, the National Restaurant Association's estimate on how many restaurants are not going to reopen is roughly 40%.
How many workers are they going to get back?
That's been a little bit of a challenge. We as an industry have done our best, and the PPP program helped a lot with that in the early days
It's
of
time to do
the
it
pandemic.
again.
It is time to do it again, absolutely. Because again, those infusions and some of the state programs as well, the economic resiliency grants, and then the state-specific economic resiliency grants. There's a couple of loan programs through the Bank of North Dakota, so the state, to an extent, has also stepped up with some money. The issue there is that nobody had any idea this was going to last this long.
Yeah.
So what initially was stay home for 2 weeks to slow the spread, we're now 7 or 8 months into. And it's difficult from a planning perspective if you're running a hospitality-related business, especially because it's not the highest margin business out there in the first place. So just the kind of indefinite nature of, okay, we're going to be at 50% capacity for now, or maybe it'll be 25% later, and maybe at some point we can come back up to 75%. That makes it really hard to predict. And I know that as I talk with folks that are operators in this industry, the first concern I always hear is, well, I may or may not be all right. That's however that works, but I really feel bad for my employees who are not getting shifts, or, if you're running at 25 or 50% capacity, you may have to lay a couple of people off, and you don't know when you're going to be able to bring them back. And it's a heartbreaker for the operators in the industry.
See, and to me, they're going to find work somewhere.
Right.
I mean, they're going to find, they got a work ethic. And granted, the unemployment package in the beginning was generous. I get that. I understand it. But they're gonna find work somewhere, and you might not get them back.
Well, and that's the challenging thing as well. In this particular industry, we work really hard to build staff loyalty and you know, a good team that our guests and customers appreciate and like, and that, you know, so it can feel like your neighborhood spot. You can feel like a member of the family, and it can be potentially devastating to lose those good long-term employees if that's how the chips fall.
Have they calculated expenses that went along with this? For example, okay, we can't serve people here, but we got to build an outside porch. Okay, we've got a distance, and so we got to move some tables, we got to move some chairs, we got to get the tape up, we got to.
Sure.
I mean, there's all kinds of different things they were asked to do business-wise. That at the same time they weren't bringing money in, they had to add an expense.
Right, and there is one particular grant, the initial economic resiliency grant that the state issued through the Department of Commerce, was there specifically to address that. If you had to put up plexiglass shields, it would pay for that, or if you installed, you know, touchless payment systems or that kind of thing. Those sort of measures that are designed to help restore consumer confidence to an extent. So there was some assistance with that. I will say we could use more. We could use more assistance with that, and just in general with operating expenses. Like I said, it's I don't know that anyone ever really predicted this was going to last as long as it did, and it's hard to plan for.
Do you think, and this would scare me a lot, that people's lifestyles have changed? And here's an example, and it doesn't fit into your wheelhouse necessarily, but my wife works from home now, and she's digging it. I mean, she's loving working from home, and her productivity has actually gone up. I couldn't do it. There's no way I could do it. It'd drive me nuts to work from home. That being said, you know, when you look at this whole thing, do you think people are going to go out to eat as much as they did before?
Consumer demand recovery in general does make me a little nervous, not just because we will come to a point, I don't know how long it's going to take, but we will eventually come to a point where people feel safe and normal and going back into a restaurant again. And I would make the point also that we as an industry are really, really good at being clean and sanitary and not making people sick. That's what we do, and we've gotten even better at it throughout the course of the pandemic and the specific pandemic-related measures. So I would urge folks to feel safe now. But if you don't, how long is it going to take for folks to feel normal going back into a restaurant again? And then secondly, lots of people probably learned to cook over the course of the last 7
Although
months.
I will tell you this, I cooked a lot, but your food's better. I'll still go on. Rudy, thank you.
Thank you, Joel, for having us.
And tell them to keep their chin up.
Absolutely.
People like me and others are going to go out there. We're going to support them. We're itching to do it. We really are. So tell them to keep their chin up.
Will do. And again, hats off to the innovators in the industry for
Exactly.
getting through this.
When we come back, he was senator from North Dakota for a long, long time. And before that, he served in Congress. Before that, he was tax commissioner. So his name's been on a ballot, and he won. Now, here's the thing. He's got some strong opinions about where we're at with the transition. He's known Joe Biden, and Joe Biden is his friend. When we come back, former senator for the great state of North Dakota, Byron Dorgan, right after this.
Bismarck Central, 4800.
4800, go ahead.
Requesting social services on-call team.
Stand by. 4800 social services requesting additional information.
You can advise social services that we have an 18-month-old female who was in a residence with a mother, now being transported to medical care for overdose.
Trusting your digital life to faceless tech giants can be risky. Will they keep your family and business information truly safe from prying eyes? If you subscribe to local Beck Lightband internet service, you already have Beck Cloud Backup. Beck Cloud Backup is the safest, most private cloud storage for all your family memories, schoolwork, and business documents. Call 701-475-2361 to start using your free space on Beck Cloud Backup today.
You just might find the home of your dreams this weekend by watching the Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes Sundays at 6 p.m. and Wednesdays at 7 on Beck, featuring properties from Bismarck, Mandan, Minot, and surrounding areas. The Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes presents desirable properties that are for sale, lets you meet your Alliance realtors, and provides critical insights into local happenings from community and business leaders. Join us this Sunday evening at 6 or Wednesday at 7 for the Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes on Beck.
Today's households have more digital devices than ever before. More links to family, business, education, and entertainment. Beck Communications spent over 10 years building North Dakota's fastest fiber optic internet service. Beck Lightband Internet, outpacing speeds in large cities nationwide. Lightband Internet handles all your digital needs without throttling your connection to the world. Beck Communications, valuable digital connections in rural North Dakota.
Howdy folks, it's a Line Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our hay-bossing breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at our salad bar, sink your teeth into our famous Line burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spur-rattling pie with a calm roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the game. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
We're still going down the road, and I'm going to bring an individual onto the show now that you know quite well. He's a man that worked on your behalf for a lot of years in different capacities, and he's someone with the new president-elect. These guys got each other's cell phones. They're friends, and so I definitely wanted to talk to him and have a chance to visit with him, and that is former United States Senator from the great state of North Dakota, Byron Dorgan. Senator Dorgan, good to have you on.
Joel, how are you? It's good to be with you. Thanks.
I'm doing well. The transition has begun. The office of the president-elect is making decisions. You know, that has to put a little bit of a bounce in your step after the bumpy road we've been going down.
Well, I think so. I mean, you know, just in terms of the new appointments, Joe Biden introduced a number of them the other day, and I sort of felt like, you know, these are really important nominations to send to the Senate. People that have great experience, that are really serious, you know, have been around for some long while. And I know many of them. I'm friends with a good number of them. And I just think that Joe Biden is putting together a very solid potential cabinet at this point.
You worked across the aisle. You had friends on both sides of the aisle. You saw what happened, and you were in office when other transitions happened. You know how George H.W. Bush treated Bill Clinton, and how Bill Clinton treated W, and how W treated Barack Obama. I mean, how did we get to here, to the point where Joe Biden's got all this work to do, and yet he's got somebody biting at his heels while he does it?
Yeah, I know. Well, this has never happened before, ever. You know, to have someone lose the presidency. I mean, the vote was 73 million to about 78, 79 million. He loses the presidency. And but months before, he said, if I lose, it's going to be because they stole it from me. It's because it was rigged. So he set up a circumstance where he really never wants to say that he lost. And that says a lot more about the character or lack of character on his part, on Trump's part. But, you know, the fact is it's been stalled for a couple of weeks here. And now I think we're underway, and I think a new Biden administration will take shape on January 20th. He'll come to power. And I expect you'll see a number of executive orders and a number of pieces of legislation that he wants to proceed with Congress. And let me also say that, you know, I believe the Senate has changed dramatically since I was there. You know, I served 18 years in the U.S. Senate, but I think it has changed dramatically in a very unfortunate way. And that has a lot to do with Senator Mitch McConnell. I hate to say that personally of him, but that's what I think has happened.
So, you know, when you talk about the transition and you talk about how people can succeed at this job or not succeed, you know with social media what President Trump is going to do. The same thing he did with Barack Obama. He's going to go out there and spread lies. He's going to constantly be complaining. I mean, I remember Donald Trump, before he was President Trump, talking about how much Barack Obama golfed. Remember that? And of course, he pushed the whole birther movement. And then I don't think anybody ever golfed more than Donald Trump. I mean, how with all those votes that you mentioned that Donald Trump got, I mean, how do we get America together? How do we get them to know that this is the new administration and the election's over? It's time to get behind the new administration.
No, that's true. And, we need to, in this country, with social media, you have autonomous postings of this and that and the other. Some of them are pretty coarse, with no names on them, right? Disrespecting everyone who has a disagreement with you. We need to find a way for us to understand that our neighbors that may feel differently, we still respect them. We need to get along, and there needs to be bipartisanship. Republicans and Democrats they have to try to figure out what can we do together that advances the interests of the country. The lubrication of democracy has been the ability to work together, to bipartisanship. And, I watched Ted Kennedy and Ellen Simpson, work on pieces of things together, one very conservative, one very liberal. That's the way Congress should work, respecting the views of others, but trying to find out how do you move the ball forward to solve problems that exist in this country.
I have on my radio show had people call in and they say this, that, or the other thing, and it's not factual. And I'll say, okay, where did you hear that? I mean, where did you get that information? It's always the same thing when it's wrong. It's always, I read it on Facebook. I mean, we've got ourselves to the point where somebody's been talking to us about fake media, to where they don't really respect journalism anymore or journalists. And so to sit there and say, well, Ted said it on Facebook, so it's got to be true.
Right.
I don't know how we fix that.
That's very difficult. I mean, in our lifetime, first of all, we've discovered the internet that didn't exist previously, right? And then in addition to the internet, we've discovered the creation of social media devices, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or a good number of them. And those social media devices have had a profound impact, some very positive, some unbelievably negative in this country, because it does allow for and actually encourage the posting of material, number one, that is not true. It's just a lie. Second, it is coarse and degrading and dismissive of people with a different opinion. We need to find a way as a country to come together again and answer the question in our own hearts: what does it mean to be an American? Yeah. What are our requirements? What is the citizenship requirement to be an American citizen, which is a very important thing on this planet, right?
Both you and I know that Russia and China have involved themselves in our elections, and we've had to do everything we can to make sure it's the American people that decide who our leaders are going to be. Everybody talks about, boy, they support one candidate or one political party. I think they're winning by making sure we hate each other. I think they're winning by making sure that we don't trust the electoral process anymore. And I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I mean, this issue of trying to undermine the very process of having voters choose their government, undermining the notion of whether a vote can be held and it's fair and free and will produce the right result. President Trump has undermined that now for months and months and months with no evidence at all. But, going back to this issue of bipartisanship, whoever is elected, I was in the Congress when Ronald Reagan was elected. I was there with Bill Clinton was there and George H.W. Bush and, the whole list of them. All of them, I had lunch with all of them and breakfast with all of them from, not often, but from time to time going to the White House. While I might have disagreed with some of them significantly on issues, I very much respected them and very much wanted in areas where we could work together. I wanted to work with them. And we need to think like that again. This pandemic that's coming, Joe, what we're facing, the pandemic, number one, number two, the economic consequences of it, and people desperately hungry, out of work, trying to get back to their jobs. We've got a lot of work to do to put together some things in this country that will get us back on track.
Joe Biden's your friend. You worked with him for a number of years. Describe him to the people that are watching us. When you think of Joe Biden, what do you think of?
Oh, you know, he's a guy that's easy to get along with. He's got a good sense of humor. He feels strongly about issues. He has a lot of courage. I think he's. I've known Joe sat right behind my desk in the United States Senate. His desk was the row right behind mine for a long while, and we talked a lot. We've gone to dinner. You know, I like Joe a lot. I think he's very empathetic. He cares a great deal about the future of this country, and I think he will do a good job.
I know we have just a little bit of time left, but the team he's putting together, grade it. How do you think he's putting together his cabinet?
I think it's really extraordinary. I mean, I just think he's found some really terrific people with great experience. I have great confidence in them, and he hasn't finished putting that team together, but when he does, I'm going to feel like we've got some adults in the room with great experience that I think will move this country in the right direction.
Senator, there's a reason that you won the elections you ran in, and there's a reason that the people of North Dakota asked you to serve, and I think you just gave them a good example of that. Thanks for going down the road with us. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe. Joe, it's good to be with you. Thanks a lot.
You bet. When we come back, we'll have some comments for you. We'll let you know what my thoughts are on the issues of the day. So what I'm asking you to do is keep going down the road with us.
He once won a spelling bee in an ancient language that he did not speak. He is the only man to ever earn extra credit on an IQ exam. His academic degrees are considered legitimate spending currency in 22 nations, 2 principalities, and at Chick-fil-A restaurants in the United States and Western Canada.
I do not always engage with education programming, but when I do, it is the Dr. Duke Show.
Stay educated with the Dr. Duke Show, weekdays at 4 p.m. on Beck News.
Introducing Accord Comfort Sleep Systems, a better way to sleep. We offer you 5 different models to give you the perfect choice of support and body comfort. Every model begins with our exclusive Accord Comfort Reflex Layer. This ensures proper spinal alignment and a deep down body relief. Our 8-inch Whisper Breeze provides a medium firm feel, and our 10-inch Gentle Night model has a quilted top, giving you a medium plush comfort. Both use Outlast fabric on the top of your mattress, ensuring that your body temperature is not too hot and not too cold. Our Copper Rest Sleep Series is our premier mattress, offering your choice of firm, plush, and luxury plush. Every model uses copper-infused gel latex and provides all the health benefits of copper. Accord Comfort mattresses are handcrafted in the USA and come with a 60-night sleep guarantee. You're going to love sleeping with us. Order today exclusively at accordsleep.com or Tom's Home Furnishings in beautiful downtown Harvey.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink from trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
My name is Rich Shook, and I lost my best friend in a grain bin accident.
Some of the emotional scars that when these incidences happen just resonates throughout the community like dropping a rock in a pond. I guess I'll never forget. At least the last moments we shared. That's why I think this is so important to get out there to people, is people think that it can't happen to you, and it can. The time it would take you to just kiss a loved one and your life is over. I believe it's unacceptable.
This message provided by North Dakota Farmers Union.
Well, it's Black Friday, ladies and gentlemen. For many of you, that's a real tradition. This year different because of COVID. But Black Friday, to me, is the kickoff to Christmas. You're all starting to buy things and take out those credit cards. And I hope you do this. I really do. I hope you support those local businesses. Earlier in the show, and if you missed it, it was suggested by Russ Martinson that take out a gift card. I mean, do something to support that local business, even if you can't go to it right now. That was a great idea. Absolutely great idea. Put some cash in the hands of that local business that you want to keep going, while at the same time it's something that you can use later. We can all shop online. I mean, we can. We can all sit there and go on the internet and go ahead and buy and have it shipped to us from Ohio or have it shipped to us from New York or LA. You know what? It's our small businesses that are hurting. It's our small businesses that need our help right now. And so on this Black Friday, I hope you do just that. I hope you support them. Some people think that Christmas starts too early, right? Well, I'm not sure that Christmas could start early enough now on this Black Friday because of the fact that usually Christmas puts people in a good spirit and in a good mood, and we need that. We really need that. I also want to mention that tomorrow is Small Business Saturday, which that in and of itself is something that, well, it tells you exactly what you need to be doing, supporting that small business. I don't know how many of you, when all this is done, when all this COVID situation is done, I don't know how many of you are going to be used to the lifestyle we're living now, where we cook and, I hope you go out for that steak. I do. I hope you go out to that movie. I hope that you go out and buy yourself the new golf clubs. I don't care what you're doing. I hope you get some money moving. Because I think a lot of you probably have more money in your checking account now than you did when it started, just because you can't go out and spend it as easy as what you did before. I know that I got a couple bucks more now than what I had before March and all of that word came out. So I'll do it too. I mean, when all of this happens, when we get freed up, tell you what, I hope to see you out there because I'll be the one eating a ribeye. Always good going down the road with you. Until next time, good riding with you.